What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you are returning, welcome back and welcome to a very new type of content. Normally, I do musical reactions because music is a huge part of my life and it's a huge passion of mine. But this is something I've wanted to dive into for a while now. And I've touched on it here and there with reacting to some podcasts, but this is the first non reaction I'm going to do. And it's just me going to talk to you for a second. Um, this is mainly for people who are struggling to lose weight, who are significantly overweight, living in a larger body, however you want to say it. But it is for anyone in general as well. Anyone who just wants to be healthier. I struggled with my weight my whole life. There has not been a time in my life where I have not had to worry about what I'm eating or if I'm dieting or any of that. Um, and there's a lot of reasons that contributed to weight gain over the years, but the biggest thing was lack of education, lack of knowledge. Um, I didn't even start trying to really change my life until I was already in my 30s. Um, you know, in I got picked on a lot in school. I got bullied a lot, mostly up until junior high. Junior high got a little bit better when I started playing athletics, and I discovered for the first time that that I was athletically inclined. Never the greatest, but definitely in the top. I was always on A team or varsity, and things came very naturally to me, which was a shocker to me. My parents both worked jobs that were on the weekend, so I didn't get to do any type of sports or recreational activities until much later on. My best friends that I hung out with all the time, their families were also struggling with weight, and we ate out a lot and had poor nutrition. And it was one of those things that my generation, being born in the 80s and growing up, like my parents' generation, they going out to eat was like a privilege. It was something you did not do all the time. It was a special occasion type of thing. And then come into the 80s and 90s, and now fast food is so readily available and it's so cheap. And let's face it, most of the time it's pretty good. Um, and so it was very easy. When I started playing sports in junior high, um, I games would be start around 6 with B team and stuff. So we would walk down the street a couple of minutes to the Golden Chick, which is like a fried chicken place. And we would get a 4-piece meal and we would smash it. And then we would go play volleyball. And then after that, we would go to dinner too. And a lot of times we'd go to like Dairy Queen and I would have a steak finger basket, which now I know is like 1,200 calories easy, which is a huge portion. I mean, that's like half my daily calories now. So I was definitely consuming too many calories, but we didn't know it. Like when you go to fast food places, and a lot of places now they have the calories listed, the nutrition facts on there. That was not there, so we had no idea how many calories we were consuming. I didn't even really know what a calorie was. I didn't know anything about protein, carbs, or fats, or what they did for your body. I was never taught any of that. Now, when I was at home, my mom was a runner, and so she cooked very healthy meals. It was primarily when I was out or at the babysitter's that was where those bad habits were being built. I had the same babysitter from about the time I was 16 months old ish to around 13. And she died at 55 from complications due to obesity. Um, I was there after school most of the time and on the weekends. And, food was whatever I wanted it to be. It was all the little Debbie cakes and all the snacks and the sodas and all of that kind of stuff. And it just contributed to the problem. And she was the kindest, sweetest lady. I love her dearly. She was like a grandmother to me. But it played a huge part in the struggles I faced moving on in life. Um, through junior high, things got a little bit better because I was playing sports. So I kind of like naturally started losing a little bit of weight here and there because I was more active where I wasn't before. I was also in gymnastics at that time, which led to me transitioning into cheerleading. Not my favorite thing ever. But it was fun. I did that for a couple of years. And again, I was on varsity. It came fairly naturally to me, and I enjoyed it for the most part until it got really dramatic, and I ended up quitting my sophomore year. So, or I should say, after football season, my sophomore year. Um, and that's really when the weight started to come on. I had a boyfriend for the first time, and we went out to eat a lot. I was around the age when we started partying and drinking beer. definitely not illegally or anything. But, the weight started to really come on. And it was just like it felt like it happened overnight. It was something I didn't even notice. But that was really the start of things getting bad. Um, and then it got worse after we broke up. First love and all of that. And I went through a little spiral. I spiral a lot, actually. So fast forward a few years, I'm living in Austin and I'm doing hair and I'm working in a big salon there, and I started doing hair shows. And before I knew it, I was so busy, I ate out all the time because it was just easier to grab something and go. I didn't have time to meal prep. I didn't even know what meal prep was at that time. I literally just, it was just easier. I was lazy and it was easier to just grab food on the go, and it was better than anything I could make. I wasn't a very good cook, so that's what happened. And before I knew it, at that time I hit 292, and I'm only 5'3" and a quarter. So like, in the quarter counts, do not at me, okay? So, but I was 292 at that point, and my parents convinced me to maybe get the lap band surgery. And I thought this might be the answer to all my problems, but it wasn't, because and weight loss surgery never is if you're not ready to change up here and in here. Okay, it's not it's not really the easy way. Some of them are easier to lose weight because obviously you're taking in a lot fewer calories. Um, but this was not something that worked for me. And I lost a little bit of weight initially, but I was still drinking all the time. And at this point, I started dabbling in drugs. I'd gone through a lot of things, and I have some mental health issues with my ADHD. A lot of things I understand now were affecting me then, and I didn't know it. So that is irrelevant at this point. Okay, I can dive into more of the mental health journey I've been on. That's a whole other TED talk, I promise you. Um, but I ended up moving back home from Austin, which Austin is only an hour hour south of me at this point. So I moved back home and still trying to lose weight, but I was trying to get out of the lifestyle that I'd found myself in, constantly partying and just living a very not great life. And so I came home and was working and making more money, and doing pretty good, but the weight was still there. So eventually, me and my mom wanted to lose like 40 pounds because she couldn't run anymore. She had arthritis and stuff. And so she had put on a little bit of weight too, because obviously she was not burning as many calories. And her too, she didn't have a huge idea about nutrition, but she knew healthy food from bad food for the most part. So, and like I said before, she didn't grow up eating out all the time. So cooking at home was very normal for her. Um, so we decided to do Weight Watchers. Now, counting points, it does work. It works because you're in a caloric deficit. It just, instead of counting calories, you're counting points. Food is given a point value based on its caloric whatever. And it did work. You had accountability because you had to weigh in each week and you had these meetings, and it was great. And once I was down about 40 pounds, I started having a little more confidence, right? I was feeling pretty good about myself. And I ended up starting to date. And I met someone who I ended up marrying. We probably should have never gotten married to begin with. I made a lot of concessions in the beginning. Um, and it was just one of those things that it only lasted 4.5 years. We were together about 6 total, but um, a big contention between us is that at this point, when I was married, it was when I got to my heaviest, and I was over 300 pounds. Uh, the one time I weighed, it was 303, but I'm pretty sure it was higher than that at some point. But so he did not want to diet with me. He did not want to lose weight. He felt like it was going to be hard and just did not want to make those changes. He was a big drinker as well. He didn't work. I worked and pretty much paid for everything, but the evenings were spent drinking alcohol and eating bad food and playing video games. So definitely no physical activity for the most part, except for me standing behind a chair doing hair, which you would think being on your feet all day you would burn more calories, but you don't. I'm not really moving too much. Like it definitely falls more, I feel like, under the NEAT category, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's like the calories you burn just doing your average stuff. Okay. Um, Eventually I was so rock bottom with how I was feeling about myself. Like I was, I was definitely having the thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore. I don't think I ever would have done anything like that because to be honest, I'm kind of a wuss, um, but I knew I had to do something. My brother was super into fitness, and so I messaged him, and I was just like, I'm at rock bottom. I need help. And so he put me on a quick weight loss kind of kickstart with keto. That was my first interaction with the keto diet. Not my favorite either. Um, but it initially started getting me to lose weight. Okay. And so then uh, I had a friend who was very fit, very good looking, and he wanted me to try Herbalife. He had got into Herbalife, he was selling it, they were having a lot of success, and he got me to try it. And sure enough, of course I did it. I bought all the things, I did all the things, and I was really strict about it. Like I got to the point where I was like obsessed about not having any carbs. Like if I had carbs, I was absolutely going to gain weight back, but the weight was dropping drastically. I ended up losing a good 60 pounds that time. Got down to around 240. And again, at this point, I started feeling good about myself. I was feeling confident. I was feeling snatched. I wasn't, but I felt like it. And what did I do? I started dating again. There's a theme here. Um, this rebound relationship was hella toxic. I'm talking, I thought I had hit rock bottom before. No, the end of this relationship was rock bottom for me. So, and since I need like a Xanax to even talk about that relationship, I'm going to skim over that part and shoot to the end of 2017 when that ended. And I decided I had to change my life. So I got online on YouTube, the great YouTube, and I just typed in, how do I lose weight? And one of the first things that popped up was John Glad, Obese to Beast, who I have met a couple of times. Super cool dude. He has been in this space a very long time, and he has helped so many people lose weight and gain their life back. If you are one of those people who are starving for information about how to lose weight, his channel is crazy good. He's got years worth of stuff that information that you can see, stuff he eats on a daily basis, what kind of workouts he was doing, tips and tricks, all of the things on his page. Please go like and subscribe. That being said, I was obsessed with his content, and he had a whole series about doing CrossFit. And he had lost 180 pounds. And I mean, a lot of that, majority of that was on his own. But when he really started to get fit was when he started doing bodybuilding and then CrossFit. And I saw CrossFit and I instantly knew I had to try it. I wanted to do it so bad. It looked so much fun. I'd always been into athletics, and that was like a group environment that seemed like I would really like I wanted to do it. But of course, I was terrified to go into a gym. I had regained all of my weight back. All that 60 pounds I lost, all gained right back. Plus some. So I started following what John said, and the biggest impact he made on me was one of the first videos, I was watching about like what he ate to change, to lose weight. And he said, he would go to McDonald's and get like, I don't know, 2 double cheeseburgers, 2 McChickens, a large fry, and a large Dr. Pepper, okay? Or a soda, large soda. And, he said, even if you only had 1 double cheeseburger and 1 McChicken, a medium fry, and a Diet Coke, you've already canceled out so many calories, right? You've already, at least over 1,000 calories are gone. And so now you're already in a deficit. And so, he went to like the grocery store and got like a sub because he knew that a sandwich was better than all that fried food and stuff. And so it was those little changes he started to make. It wasn't about going from 0 to 100, like just eating chicken and broccoli all the time. Um, you know, uh, and I was like, oh, okay, so like I don't have to do that. Like there's another way I can do this. And that kind of opened up my eyes to a different world. And that it seems like something so small, but it was big for me because I thought I had to just eat like chicken and broccoli or chicken and green beans or fish and green beans and fish and broccoli, which I hate broccoli. Okay, unless it's smothered in butter and cheese, I don't like broccoli. But I have found vegetables that I do like, and those are the ones I eat because those are the ones I stick to, right? Again, a whole other TED talk. Now, at this time, I knew someone who had a CrossFit gym, but the gym was like probably closer to 25 minutes away from me. So I knew that um, that wasn't going to work with my schedule getting there, either in the morning or after work or whatever. So he suggested a gym closer to me, which is the gym that I joined and still a part of today. So this was moving into April 2018. And I went in and I sat down with her name was Sally. She was like my first welcoming committee into the CrossFit community. Um, and she took me through like a little test AMRAP. I remember it was like, 6 ring rows, 8 squats, and like 7 calories on the row or something like that. And it was just like a short AMRAP to kind of feel out what CrossFit would be like. And so I decided I want to do this. I'm going to sign up. And I signed up. I signed up for a year. I signed the contract, and I had 4 like intro sessions where she would be there with me and she would kind of break down the lifts and stuff as we were going. Looking back, I wish I would have had a stronger foundations course, and eventually I might do a video on that about what you should look for in a CrossFit gym. But there was just 2 of them running it, and they did an amazing job with an intro into CrossFit for me. And like I said, I've been there ever since. So it's been 6 years now, I guess. But it didn't all just snap and click together. I went through a series of trying other diets. I went vegan for 6 weeks, which is, if you can do that, that's fantastic. That did not work for me. The only thing that really worked for me was tracking my macros and you know eat less, move more. And so, but I was eating an appropriate amount for myself. And well, I am now, I should say am now. At first, I got to the point where I fall into that trap like everybody else: eat as little as possible, move as much as possible. That's not the way to do it. You're only looking to lose about 1% of your body weight per week. That's a pretty healthy weight loss pace. Okay. But the thing was, the community was what really brought me in, right? Like, I was so worried about being judged and people thinking I didn't belong there. And everyone was so welcoming, and they cheer you on and they want to see you succeed. And that was such a cool feeling, because I had spent my entire life feeling like I had to be special in order to be accepted. Because back in junior high, when I started playing sports and I was good at sports, then people stopped messing with me so much, right? Then when I became a varsity cheerleader and I could do gymnastics and stuff like that, then all of a sudden I was worthy of people's kindness. And I have been chasing that my entire life. I've been feeling like I had to be special in some way, because if I wasn't, then I'm not good enough the way I am. And that's been a hard thing for me to let go. Even at 41 now, I still struggle with those feelings every day. So eventually I kind of figured out my nutrition, and I figured out, like, it was hard to move in the beginning. It was very hard to move when you're larger. When you're in a larger body, it is much harder to move. Um, and it sucks sometimes to feel like while you're struggling, everybody's flying through this stuff, but eventually you figure out there's modifications. There's great modifications that allow you to move consistently and well for where you're at, to get the best possible workout in. And the thing about it is, I wasn't perfect in the beginning. I made so many mistakes, and it wasn't happening as fast as I wanted to. But the two things, I started to create discipline, and I found consistency. There's times when I wouldn't go to the gym for a week, or I would only go 2 days or whatever, but like, because it was hard, and I didn't want to embarrass myself and struggle in front of people, and I was sore. And it's hard when you feel tired all the time, because that's what happens when you're overweight. You're tired a lot. You're not in a great mood most of the time. Um, but through discipline and consistency, those things created motivation. And the more I saw the weight coming off, the more I was able to buy smaller sizes and clothes. Like, I remember crying in the freaking dressing room the first time I was able to go into a regular store, not a plus size store, and buy a shirt off the rack that I didn't have to order in a special size or anything like that. Or the first time I flew on a plane, and I actually had slack. I had to tighten my seatbelt. I was so dangerously close to needing a seatbelt extender. And it was all those little things, all the little things started adding up, and eventually I found myself doing it, actually doing it. I was losing weight, and before I knew it, December 2019 comes and I had lost 103 pounds, and it took almost 2 years. Um, but everyone's journey is going to look different, and it definitely was not linear. I didn't just imagine this greater life for myself, decide to go into a gym and just have instant success. It was a complete roller coaster ride, and it still is today. Um, but it's the greatest thing I've ever done. And I don't even know if I would still be here, honestly. Like, I don't know if my health would have taken me out or if I would have taken myself out, honestly, because I was so miserable and unhappy, which is why when I see things like health at every size, and fat acceptance community and all that stuff, like, yeah, I mean, you want to be accepted. Everybody wants to be accepted for who they are, but that doesn't mean you can't want to be better. Like, and being overweight, it just puts the strain on your body. And I know because I'm coming off a back injury now, and a back injury that was caused because I've carried so much weight on my frame for so long, and there are certain things that you can never reverse, but you can make it better. And CrossFit is that thing for me. When you have good coaches and stuff and you build up your functional fitness, doing things in life now, like my parents are older and I live here with them and I help take care of them because I am the only one here. My brother lives in England with his family. And I need to stay strong for them. If something happens and I have to rush somebody to the hospital, I have to be able to pick them up and put them in a car. I help bring in the heavy groceries and stuff like that. It's just the small things in life that are joyous. But I remember when I had to hold my breath to tie my shoe and I had to take stairs, like going downstairs one at a time or even upstairs one at a time. And I would be so out of breath going up the stairs, and now I can run stairs. So it's an amazing feeling when your body starts responding to the hard work you put in. Um, Now fast forward, I decided at the end of 2019 also that I wanted to coach, and our gym was under new ownership at this time, and it was just the owner and our head coach, and I was like, this is it. I want to be a coach. I want to help people like me who struggled their whole life to lose weight, who just don't have the knowledge, because when you have the knowledge, when you're armed with the knowledge, it makes life so much easier. It doesn't make weight loss easier, but it makes figuring it out a whole hell of a lot easier. um so I they were game, and I took my L1 in January and got my results, and I was a level 1 trainer. So, I went through some training and some coaching, and or eventually became a coach. And because there was only 3 of us, I was coaching a lot in the beginning. And our head coach had just had a baby, and so the newborn and stuff, I was definitely kind of thrown into the fire, which was fine. I kind of learned well under pressure, actually. And let me tell you, I was a terrible coach in the beginning. I was not a good public speaker. It took me a long time to get comfortable in front of people, and eventually now I'm a very good coach. But uh this time, 2019, going into 2020, 2020 was hard. I became a coach, was coaching, lockdown happened, and then when I went back to work, I was coaching full time and working full time, and my health really started to suffer because I wasn't able to get consistent workouts in, and you know meal prep was a lot harder to get done and stuff, and had a little bit of weight regain. But in 2021, I decided to try my hand at dating again. Me and dating. Um, and I started seeing someone, sort of, and we'll just say it didn't end well. And so I decided to I was in a rough place mentally. My ADHD is pretty bad, and it causes me to have a lot of depression. And there was just a lot of stuff about myself that I didn't understand at that time, right? So I ended up getting on these meds that were supposed to help with my ADHD issues. I was trying to stay away from stimulant medication because I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made sleep very hard, and sleep is important for health. So I decided to go with SSRIs instead, which are serotonin uh, uptake re-inhibitors or something like that, right? So it was raising my serotonin, which is something I'm deficient in, but it was also increasing my appetite. I didn't know that at the time. It started out slowly, and then I eventually, like, it didn't seem to be working. I was going through therapy at this time too. Therapy is amazing. Highly recommend it to everyone. Go get some therapy. You won't regret it. Um, but the two medications I ended up being on, both, now, they can make you gain weight. For some people that doesn't happen. Some people even lose weight. It's everyone's a little bit different. I happen to be in the first category. So there became this compulsion to eat, and I started putting on a lot more weight. And I couldn't figure out why. Like, I was working out more and stuff. I even took a step back from coaching at one point, and then I had a series of injuries. Fast forward to November of last year. And October, I was almost ready to just say, screw it. I need weight loss surgery. I'm gonna go have the sleeve surgery done, because like, I'm a failure at this point, right? Like, I'm regaining weight. I put on another 40 pounds. You know, and that's really tough. It's really tough. It makes you feel like a failure, and it makes you feel like everyone's judging you, especially being a coach and not being as fit as everyone else. But your weight does not dictate your knowledge. And the whole point of this story is that giving up should never be an option. I knew I had to make something had to change, so I decided to quit the meds. I got off them. Now, please don't take this as me telling you to get off your meds. Please consult your doctor. Go to your doctor. If you think you might be suffering from something similar, go talk to your doctor. Please go talk to your doctor, okay? I'm not telling you to get off your meds. I'm telling you this is what I did for me. And sure enough, within a couple of months, I'd lost 25 pounds without even trying. I didn't even realize there was a compulsion there, to eat, until it was gone. And not only that, I didn't realize how fatigued the medicine made me. Um, I was tired all the time. I, I mean, part of it, I was working a lot more too. But I was so tired, and getting off the meds was the best decision for me. And now the weight is coming back down and stuff, and my fitness is coming back after a series of injuries. I had knee bursitis. I have a slap tear. I had torn a couple of rotator cuff tendons as well. Minor tear, nothing crazy. And then now I have lower lumbar spondylosis, which is degeneration in your back. Most people have it to varying degrees as you get older, but mine is a lot more advanced because I've been obese for so long. Um, and then in December, I ended up injuring a disc, and I was out of commission for about 6 weeks. Couldn't work out. Basically, it was all mobility and stuff. I was reduced to, like, the bike, a TRX straps, and like resistance bands. So, but through physical therapy, I am back to 5 day a week workouts, and I've been working with our nutrition coach, who is fantastic. Karina is just a godsend. Like, she gets me on a whole other level, and I swear she's my life coach. She's not just a nutrition coach. When it comes to nutrition, I do know what to do, but it helps to have accountability. Even coaches need coaches. And she's helping me figure out some other stuff about myself too, which is amazing. Um, Now, all of this to say, if you are very overweight and you've wanted to make a change, I highly recommend CrossFit. CrossFit in the name sounds scary, but it's not. There is a modification for everything, and they will meet you where you are. Um, if there's something you can't do, maybe you have bad knees, right? You can't do lunges. That's okay. You can do step ups. Can't do it on a 12-inch box. That's fine. You could do it on a 3-inch plate. You're still stepping up. You're still using those muscles. And the little things you do there will lead up to the bigger things later on as the weight comes down. Most CrossFit gyms offer some sort of nutrition coaching. They even offer personal training. And CrossFit might not be for everyone. However, I do believe it can help everyone. It doesn't matter your age, where you're starting. If you've never worked out a day in your life, it's going to be difficult in the beginning, but it is worth it. Not only did I gain an incredible amount of self esteem, which I still struggle with, but the person I am now is night and day from the person I used to be. Confidence. I am a lot more confident, even when I don't necessarily feel it. Like, I can pull it out, but I'm definitely more confident in my abilities, just as a human, and just in the person I am, because I do feel fitter now. It gives me a sense of purpose. It gives me a sense of drive. There's so many things that I have done that I never would have imagined I would have ever have done. I've done 5Ks. I've done a 7K trail run. I've done a Spartan. Um, I'm a L2 now. I actually got my L2 I think it was 2021. Pretty sure it was 2021. So about 2 years ago, give or take. But the quality of life is incredibly better. Like, it's little things like not having to tie your breath or tie your breath, hold your breath to tie your shoes, or I used to struggle with trying to do a burpee. And then now I can do burpees, no issue, no problem. Like I said, I can run upstairs, whereas I used to have to take one at a time. Like, I can lift things that other people can't lift, like my friends who don't work out. And, little things make you feel good, but my quality of life is so much better. I can go to an amusement park with my niece and nephew and keep up with them and walk around and not be exhausted and have to sit down every 5 minutes. And um I just feel better. Like, it's helped with my mental health. Fitness, nutrition, drinking enough water, and plenty of sleep is a great way to counteract some of the mental health issues a lot of people go through. Like, I mean, having ADHD is like it's like chasing the dopamine dragon all day long. It's literally like trying to get your dopamine fix. It's almost like having a drug addiction because you don't have any or you don't have enough. And working out increases your dopamine and it really does help you stay a lot more level. So there's tons of reasons to do CrossFit. But I think it can really help people, especially people who need to lose a significant amount of weight. And I think it's just one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And it helped me lose 103 pounds. Even though I gained some back, it's coming back off now. And there's nothing else I'd rather do, honestly, than CrossFit. But that leads to other things. Like, I want to work on my running. I want to do a half marathon. Um, I maybe even do another Spartan. I don't know. I'm kind of terrified of heights. It was pretty rough, not gonna lie. But there's just a lot of things that I want to do that I know I can do now, and I have the confidence to do because CrossFit gave me that. The more I remember, there was so many times when I would say like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, guess what? I do that now. So it's amazing. And I think everyone should give it a shot. It doesn't matter if you are trying to gain weight. Maybe you want to gain weight. There are people who struggle to gain weight. Same thing. I'm going to give you the same advice. CrossFit can help you gain muscle. It can help you tone and lean out. And the nutritionist can help you also gain weight. Gaining muscle, people think you're going to get bulky doing CrossFit. I promise you, you will not. You will gain some strength, but you have to purposely, gaining muscle, putting on mass and size, that is a very intentional thing. I mean, unless it's body fat. I'm talking about actual lean muscle here. Um, but whether you want to gain muscle, just be healthier in general, and you want to learn how to lift a barbell, it's so rewarding and it's so fun, and I highly recommend it to everyone. So, that is going to conclude this video for today. Thank you for joining me. I have put together a little bit of a video. It's just some pictures over the course of my journey, and I want to show you what the community is really like and why you should join. Check this out.